Hi guys, and welcome to today's video. Today we are going to be talking about a product that I received in an Ipsy bag a few months ago, January or February, and I wasn't sure if I was going to do a review or not, but I really wanted to talk about this product because, spoiler alert, I am really enjoying it. And I thought I would sit down and chat with you guys a little bit about Bahama Mama, this bronzer from the Balm. As I usually do in my reviews, I'm going to talk a little bit about the company. I'm going to talk about this product. I'm going to show you how I applied it on my face today, not only as bronzer, but as eyeshadow and brow powder as well. And I'll do some swatches against other bronzers that I have done reviews on, other bronzers that I have in my collection. And then I will give you my final thoughts at the end. If you want to skip ahead to any part of this, if you care about some parts more than others, I have started putting timestamps in the description box down below so that you can skip ahead. And let's start talking about the Balm. I have talked about the Balm before. I have done a couple of reviews of their products. I did one review of a blush, and I will put the card up here, where I talked quite extensively about the Balm. And then I also did a review of their Mad Lash Mascara, where I also talked about the company, and I will put a card up there as well, and also in the description bar. They are a company that was founded by Marissa Shipman in 2004. The story goes that she bought 11 different books about how to make cosmetics and skincare, and originally came up with this brand of makeup in her kitchen. It has grown since then, and she has a whole line of cosmetics. I should say the Balm has a whole line of cosmetics. Now, in looking up information about the company today, I went a little bit deeper than I did in the past, just because I was trying to find some new information to share. And I found some stuff that was kind of interesting. So to start with, they have, as you probably know, a whole bunch of cosmetics. There are some cosmetics that are better known than others in their lines. There are some things that are really favorites, like the Mary Luminizer, some of their mascaras, things like that. And then there are things like their foundations and like their nail polish, which you probably didn't even know that they had, that just don't really seem to get as much hype. They have their matte liquid lipsticks that you tend to hear about a bit, and people do talk on and off about their different eyeshadow palettes. Interestingly, on the website, I feel like it needs a little bit of a refresh and a little bit of information updating just in a couple of places, because in their About Us section, they talk about how they have a full range of cosmetics, skincare, and hair care. I don't know if they used to have skincare and hair care and they have discontinued those, or if they thought they were going to have skincare and hair care and have never actually got around to doing it, but I can see no products that are in those categories from the Balm. Also on their About Us section, and this is such a picky little thing, they talk about how they were started in 2004, and they say 11 years later, blah, blah, the Balm, blah, blah. Well, it obviously hasn't been updated since 2015. So, you know, just some of those little things to pay attention to. I was also looking around to see if the Balm was actually owned by a parent company. As far as I can tell, it is not, although sometimes that information is really hard to find. It seems like it's still owned and run by Marissa Shipman, as far as I can tell. It's also good to know that the Balm is paraben-free and cruelty-free, because those are very important to some people, and I think as much as we can get cruelty-free makeup, it's a good thing to do. While I was doing some searching about them and trying to find some more information, there was something that came up that I thought was interesting and bothered me a little bit. So they have two palettes. One is called Nude Tude and one is called Nude Dude. And they are cute little palettes. They are eyeshadow palettes that have, I think, 12 shades, and basically it looks like 6 little guys lined up in the Nude Dude and 6 little girls lined up in the Nude Tude. And they both have, across their chest and across, you know, their private areas is where the eyeshadow is. So it almost looks like it's being like censored out by the eyeshadows, which is fine. I think it's cute. They have very cutesy packaging. The issue is that they have names for all of these shadows. And I guess what they decided to do was that on each palette, they would have all of the names start with a specific letter. So in the Nude Dude ones, it all starts with the letter F. On the Nude Dude palette, the titles of the eyeshadows are Fearless, Flawless, Firm, Flirty, Friendly, Fierce, Fine, Funny, Feisty, Fit, Faithful, and Fabulous, which are all good words. And apparently they said it's supposed to be words that describe or people want to hear or something like that when they're nude. I don't know, that part was a little weird. All the guy ones, totally fine. The Nude Tude palette is the same setup, but with women, and the colors all start with the letter S, and they are sassy, sultry, sophisticated, seductive, silly, sleek, serious, sexy, snobby, standoffish, stubborn, and selfish. So if you're making a product that is not for women, but is primarily geared towards women, why would you come up with kind of insulting names in your eyeshadow palette for them? Does anybody want to be called snobby and standoffish and, you know, some of those words that are in there? I mean, stubborn's not necessarily a bad thing, but selfish and snobby and standoffish? I mean, you could have used stunning or smart or any of those kinds of things. And this was actually brought up to them when they released this, I think maybe in 2014, 2015. So I was actually surprised to go to their website and see that they hadn't changed it. Like, it just seems a little insulting and sexist, which puts a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. So let's get into talking about the product itself, which is Bahama Mama. You may be interested to know, if you are somebody who doesn't like to have talc in your products, that there is no talc in this product, which is good if you happen to be sensitive to it. The full-size product is going to retail for $20 US, and the full-size product is a net weight of 7.08 grams or 0.25 ounces, whereas this tiny little product here is 0.57 grams or 0.02 ounces. So it's going to be like more than 10 times the size of this, which is good because this is tiny. As far as their claims for the product, they say a bunch of descriptive things about a Caribbean getaway in a compact. It says it's going to be matte. It says it's going to create the look of beautifully tan skin without any orange undertones for a fresh off the beach glow. It says it doubles as the perfect contour powder, neutral brow filler, and matte brown eyeshadow. That's what they say. Basically, they're saying there's no orange undertones and it's a matte product that can be used in a variety of ways. For testing the product, what I have done is used it in the way that they've suggested on this half of my face so that we can see the difference, and then I will apply it to the other half of my face. So obviously, first and foremost, this is a bronzer, or at least that's what I expect from the way that it's packaged and the way that it is marketed. And that is what I have primarily been using it for. So on this side of my face, I have used it to bronze and contour a little bit. I've done my forehead, I've done some contour and bronze here, I've done it along my jawline, and also a little bit on my nose to provide a bit of contour. And for me, this works really well. It's nice in that it is buildable and it is very matte. So it's not going to be shimmery or anything like that. They say there's no orange undertones. I do find there is a bit of orange, but not in a way that makes it look too orange. I think if you went really nuts with this, it might start to look a little bit orange, but I am quite enjoying using it for bronzing and contouring. The other ways they mention this can be used, and it's not anything that I did, well, no, that's not true. They say it can be used as an eyeshadow because really it's a matte brown shade. And I have done that on this eye. What I did was on both eyes, I went in with some of my Vintage by Jessica Liebskin highlighter, the one that is more, I'm going to forget the name of it, but it's more of the goldish tone one, and used it sort of on the inner part of my eyelid. And on this side, I've gone in and bronzed it up a little bit, just into the crease, and then brought the color down that was left on the brush onto the outside edge of my lid. I will just zoom in a little bit to show this to you. And it's quite nice as an eyeshadow. I mean, this is not unique to the Balm. You can do this with any bronzer. And I quite enjoy it as a look. Actually, the first place that I got the idea to do this is from Vitala. Basically, she often uses whatever bronzer she's using as her crease shade and her eyeshadow. And it's true, it's usually a nice neutralish, if you're getting a tone that is good for you, bronzer that you can then put into the crease, and it's sort of two-in-one kind of idea that makes your makeup go that much faster and sort of warms everything up a little bit. The other way they mentioned using this, which was not something that I had tried doing, was as a brow powder. So I used a little angled brush and went in, not a lot. If you watch my channel, you know I'm not super big on brows or doing a lot of product in my brows, but it is where it shows up the most that it has a little bit of red tone, which with the hair color I have going on isn't a bad thing for me. I thought it was nice and subtle. Zoom in again. It did a good job of filling the brow in. I know I have messy brows right now, but you can see on this side it's a little more messy and undefined, and this side it's been able to fill in a little bit and give it a little bit more shape, but it definitely did give it more of a red cast than on the other side. So this is the bronzed, contoured eyeshadow and brow shade side, and that is without. So you can see how much less dimension I have on this side of my face. And now I will use this little sample to go in and make the two sides of my face match up. I'm constantly amazed with these tiny little Balm samples, how effective they are for actually getting the product in your face, considering how tiny this is. I mean, like, it's basically just a little bit bigger than my thumbnail. So to start with, I'm going to take this sort of wide, flatter, but fluffy Sephora powder brush to do the bronzing part of this look. And what I do with these little samples is I just take the brush and pat it back and forth so that it picks up some of the product, tap it a little bit, but I don't find it has really too much powderiness. And you can tell because basically there's no powder that builds up in the sample. It's not the most exact nose contouring brush, but it works because it's sort of flattened. So this has probably been my favorite product for bronzing lately. There's just something about it, maybe it's with the reddish hair that I have going on right now, that I really like the way it turns out, and it's almost goof proof for me. Like, because it is not too pigmented, I don't have that thing I have with some other bronzers where I put the brush in, pick up too much powder, too much product, put it on, and suddenly it's like, oh crap, I have a bronze disaster. What I will do now is match up my eyes, and I'm just going in with a fluffy brush. This is actually the Luxie 229 tapered blending brush, and we received this in a BoxyCharm subscription a number of months ago. So I just sort of start on the outside of the crease so that gets the most color there, bring it across in the crease, and then blend it down onto the outside of the lid. It ends up being pretty subtle. It's a sort of everyday kind of eyeshadow look, but it's nice that it gives you that bit of shadow and contrast to your eyelids to give them a little bit more pop. And finally, I'm going to take this little Sephora angled eyeliner brush and just pick up some of the product and fill in my brow. So that is how I have been using it, not as much for the brow, but it does work that way in a nice subtle way, but how I have been bronzing and contouring and using it as an eyeshadow, and it works fabulously for all of those things. What I'm going to do now is put in some swatches so that you can see how it compares to some other bronzers that I have and some other bronzers that I have reviewed in the past. As far as swatches go, this one right here is Bahama Mama, and you can see while it is not, in my opinion, completely devoid of orange undertones, it is significantly less orange than some of the others here. This one next to it is the Pure Bronzer that I have done a review on. I'll leave that down below. It is quite a bit more orange toned. Next to it is the Model Co. Bronzer, which I've also done a review on, which again is more orange. This one actually has some little glitters in it, and they do say that it's a shimmery bronzer. This one doesn't have glitters, but it has more of a sheen. This is a e.l.f. bronzer from a bronzing duo, and it does not have any orange undertones, but again, it has more of a sheen to it. And this one right here is the Temptu bronzer, which is a liquid bronzer, which I do quite enjoy, and again, does not have very orange undertones. This right here, other than the Temptu one, is the only one that is really matte. This one has glitter. These two have some shine to it, or sheen. This one is really truly matte, and does have less orange undertones than most of the other bronzers that are here. So my final thoughts here are that I quite like this bronzer. I think it is Really good, especially if you are a bit of a beginner. I'm not sure what this is like on different skin tones. I tend to run quite fair, and although you would initially look at this and think that is going to be too dark of a color, it works well. I really like bronzers that are buildable, that go on a little sheerer to start with and give you the opportunity to not really make mistakes and have a chance to build it up a little bit. I also really like that this is such a matte color, and it works really well on me. Price-wise, I mean, it's going to be more expensive than things that you would get at the drugstore, and there are good drugstore brand bronzers, but it's going to be a little bit less expensive than some of perhaps the Sephora ones. It's kind of in line with those prices. So if you are somebody who is hard to find a bronzer that you like and you think this might work for you, it's not a huge amount to pay to get something that you quite like, that is really matte, that is a tone that could work really well for you. I can tell you from using this many times over the past few months, it does have staying powder. It's going to hang in on your face. It's not the kind of thing that's going to be gone in a couple of hours. It's pretty much going to hold on as long as your powder and foundation do underneath it. I haven't found I've had any issues with it sort of fading away through the day. So that is my review on Bahama Mama. It is a thumbs up from me. I didn't get around to reviewing this until now because I was doing so many bronzer reviews in a row, and I wasn't sure if it was something that was really going to be interesting, but I just have been enjoying this so much that I want to sit down and tell you about it and let you know that this is a good product to try. If you enjoyed this review, please consider giving it a thumbs up. It lets me know that people are watching and enjoying. And if you have not subscribed to my channel but want to see more product reviews and a few other things sprinkled in as well, then click the subscribe button. And if you have tried this, leave me a comment. Let me know your thoughts on it. Or if you have another bronzer, especially a drugstore bronzer that you love, let me know. I would love to try it. I respond to every comment that people leave for me, and I love having conversations with you guys. So please leave comments and let's chat and let's talk makeup and products and skincare and all that fun stuff. That is everything for me for today. Have a wonderful day, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.